I apologize for the length of this video, but I can pretty much guarantee that for those of you who are patient, you will see levels of climbing expertise and techniques that are just simply not presented on other climbing arborist videos. So this is my next little project. It's a black cherry. It's only about 10 inches in diameter. It was forest grown, so there's not many lower limbs to it, and it's probably about 40, maybe 45 feet tall. And as you get up there, you start to pick up some of the black knot disease. It's kind of choked off and killed some of the branches. Looking up into this black cherry tree, you can see some larger examples of the black knot disease, and that's pretty endemic for most of the black cherry around here. They seem to tolerate it fairly well, but it's devastating for other members of the prune family, like prunes, apricots, and some other fruits that we enjoy. Taking a closer look at the base, we see that it's got a water spout, which is often an indication that the tree is under stress. We also have it right next to this rock wall, and that rock wall is 150 to 200 years old. One of the things that happens to these boulder rock walls is they shed rocks over time, and so not only the area that was under the rock wall, but the areas adjacent to it will have a lot of rocks in them. My wife wants this tree out by the stump, so getting that stump out with all those rocks around it is going to be a little bit of a tricky excavation. Felling the tree is an option, however it's a little bit tricky. Over on this side there's a fence. On the far end over there I've got my blacksmith shop, and there's some stainless steel guy wires to support the chimney, and over to the left there got an apple tree that I don't want to risk damaging, so anything in those quadrants is a little bit risky, so don't want to try and fell it that way. To the east, probably have a place there I could drop it, but that little Macintosh apple tree in the center of the frame is a big favorite of my wife's, and I don't want to risk damaging it. So even though I probably could drop the tree, I'm gonna go ahead and climb it and take it down piece by piece. As far as the detailed plan goes, I'll climb it, take down all of the branches on my way up, and when I get up probably to the last 15 feet or so, I'll top it and let that down gently so I don't damage the apple tree. And then I'll take it down in chunks until I've got about 15 or 16 feet, and at that point I'll fasten a chain on so that I can get some real leverage on it when trying to pull it out of the ground and chopping the roots. This tree is coming down, so I don't need to worry about protecting it. I'll be wearing spikes and using a safety line, which I'll throw up there with a throw line. I'll also use that throw line to check to see if the tree is really strong enough to take my weight. So I'll get the rope up there and then I'll pull it sideways to see how well it does. I'll be using that rope also to help lower the top of the tree once I cut it off. While I'm up there, I'll have a shorter rope that I'll use as the backup to my lanyard to hold me in place while I lower the top on that one long climbing line. Once I'm done lowering that top, I will then fasten the climbing line back around the tree and work my way down, chunking it down section by section. Part of the reason I want to lower the top is that my wife doesn't want branches all over the yard, and by lowering it I hope to prevent it snapping and putting limbs every place. I want to take it down basically whole. To get the throw line up in the tree, I want to avoid as many of the smaller branches as possible. And you can see that in this particular cherry tree, it's grown towards the light with most of its branches over to the right side and very little on the left. So I'll be throwing over from the left and trying to get into that crotch that's just about dead center up there. For my throws, I use the between the legs method. I take a loop through the ring and get enough so I have it close to the ground, and then since the rope is a little bit hard to hold on to, I take a loop around my finger there, and that way I've got a fairly good hold on it, and when I point my finger out it comes easily off the end. So that's the way I get a good grip on that side. I'm not going to bore you with all of my trial throws. I suspect it'll take me 6 or more to get the crotch I want up there. This is looking in the direction of my first throw. I've retrieved the rope, tied the throwing weight back on, and I was reminded of a mistake that I've made numerous times before. It's minor, but I really need to keep my throwing line directly in front of me, because when you have it off to the side, as you're throwing it, the rope is pulling back that direction, and for a throw that way it tends to pull the throw off to the side. So for me at least, it's important that my throwing line be directly in line with the direction I want it to go. That way I don't worry about it going off to one side or the other. My first throw was right where I wanted it, except it was 2 feet too far to the left. So this time I'll make sure that my throwing line is all in front of me in the direction I'm throwing. Here's what I'm going to be using on this climb: saddle, helmet, gloves, spurs, a steel 192. I have a little bit of trouble getting it started. I have to pull it like a dozen to 20 times, but once it does start, I can start it and stop it after that very easily, usually just one pull, which is nice when you're up the tree. It's just important to make sure that you get it started while you're on the ground before you go up there. I'll also be using a heavy-duty loop runner to fasten the descending 8 near the top, and that's what I'll use to lower the top of the tree down. One tool that you don't see arborists using very often, but I'm going to use, is this pair of field glasses right now. I was, I think, lucky on my 4th throw to hit the crotch I want, but I want to take a good look to make sure that the throw line is where I want it before I commit to putting my rope up there. Usually I add to that list my handsaw. But on this occasion I decided that there didn't appear to be enough small branches on the tree to warrant taking it with me. For my safety line and to test the tree, I'm going to use this 5/8 inch rope. I've got my throw line wrapped around a good branch, so I'll haul this up there now. Okay, got the rope pulled back down. Used a clove hitch, half hitch, and a clove hitch near the end to make sure that I can pull it over the branches. And these are fairly easy, just slip off. Now I want this tied up top, so I'm going to do a running bow line on this. So now, just to make sure the tree will support me, I'm going to give the rope a good tug out to the side. So the rope is well set and the tree is plenty strong enough to support me. Here's part of the reason this tree needs to come down. It's got this major dead branch, and that's going into the heartwood. So it needs to go. Okay, I'm up at my tie-in point, about where I'm going to cut it off. I want to make sure it falls that way. So I'm going to take this branch off so that all the weight's on that side, and then cut a notch and finish it. Before I do that, however, I will take this off of my belt and put on a descender to arrest the fall of the top. And I'll put on my secondary lanyard so that I have a backup for my first. So first we'll take this thing off. Secondary lanyard is a long one. Go ahead and make our notch cut first, making sure we got this out of the way. Okay. Now at the moment, I've got my, what is going to be my rigging line inside inside of my lanyard, so I definitely don't want that. This loop is a little bit large, definitely too long. But it will do. So we take our lowering line, and we get it set up. Then we fasten it into our cord. Okay, so we'll go ahead and get that fairly high. And now we're ready to cut. Unfreaking believable. I think I ran out of gas. Amazing. Let's try it one more time. Nope, we are out of gas. Well, that sucks. So picture this. You're 64 years old. You've already climbed the tree twice in the last half hour. You have someplace you need to leave for fairly quickly. What do you do? secondary lanyard back to our descending line, which will be a poor backup. Not great, but it'll do. Okay, time to descend. And the spikes have really gotten into the wood. That's what the safety line is for.